Okay,
Yeah.
got it? Okay, thank you. I'm going to put it down because if I keep moving it, there we go. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Cecile Robahat, but I am Arthur's twin sister. And the other day, Arthur asked if I would speak today for the family, and I told him, absolutely, I got this. I'm not so sure how much I've got this today, though. I've got tissue up here, and I may need it just like the rest of you. But I will do my best, to honor Beth today. I'd like to welcome you all on behalf of Arthur and Ian and Alicia and Helen and Doris and Joy. And I'm sorry if there are any other relatives in here on Beth's side of the family, and Jack, I won't forget you, for being here today, because we want to honor Beth's life. We all know that as we're born, this is where we are going to be at the end of our life. But there are certain ways that we would prefer to have our ending be. It's a lot easier, even though it's harsh, for someone who has had cancer or long disease and suffered. When they pass, at least the family has had that opportunity to, talk to them, to be with them, and to say goodbye to them. That's been the hardest thing about Beth's passing, because we did not get that chance to actually say goodbye because she went so suddenly. But we have to relish in the thoughts that what happened to Beth, it was quick, we know that. No suffering, and that's what we have to be thankful for. Now, one thing that I've noticed by talking to people and listening to my brother and listening to everyone that has known Beth all of these years, especially the people that she was working with and has known over her 38 years employed at Northridge Country Club. It's just alkaloid after alkaloid, just praise after praise. And I've mentioned to the family, I said, you guys may get a little tired and sick of hearing about all these wonderful things that Beth had done, because that's all anybody can ever do, is just say what a wonderful person she was. Beth's heart was big, and unfortunately, I want to look at it as her heart was so full, that's what happened. It blew up a little bit because she couldn't contain any more love for anyone else. And we have to think of things like that, because I believe Beth would have wanted us to do that. With Beth, she didn't meet a person she didn't know. I'll just start out this way. When Beth first came to this country, Beth was shy. If you know her, like that, not Beth. Because Beth would talk. And Beth would talk 90 miles an hour. We know that. And the thing about it, though, when she first came with Arthur from the Philippines, she was very timid. She was shy. But it did not take her long at all to become the Beth that we all have grown to know and to love. And that's what's always been, important about Beth. She was a kidder. She would laugh, and she loved to dance. And I was looking on Facebook the other day, and there was a video of her in front of her mirror in her bedroom. And there's music in the background, and here's Beth just swaying and dancing and, doing all of that. And I said, yeah, that's our Beth. That's the way she was. So when we look at her, we need to remember everything wonderful and positive about that woman, because that's all you can say. Now, I know that Arthur and Beth, after being married, and it would have been 47 years this June, to think about, they probably had a few little disagreements along the way. And but we were talking just a little while ago to someone, and I wanted to bring this up. He's my brother. I have always known him as Arthur, always Arthur. And then for some way along the line, it got changed to Art, very short. But now you would hear Beth calling my brother Art. But if she said Arthur, you better watch out. Because that's exactly, you knew something was coming up. But that's the way it was, don't you? You remember. So that's it. I'd like to just do a really little short prayer for Beth. So if you would, just bow your head just for a moment. Thank you for Beth's life and all the years we shared with her. We lift her to you today in honor of the good we saw in her and the love we felt from her. Please give us strength to leave her in your care in the knowledge of eternal life through Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Now, I found this little poem that I was trying to find something that I felt would be like, you can be this way or you can be that way when you're remembering Beth. So I'd like to share this with you. You can shed tears that Beth is gone, or you can smile because you knew her and she lived. You can close your eyes and wish that she will come back, or you can open your eyes and see the impact that she had on others and that she has left behind. Your heart can be empty because she is not by your side, or your heart can be full of the love that you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and only live in the past of yesterday, or you can be happy for what tomorrow brings because Beth made each day a memory for us all. You can cry and you can close your mind and it can be empty and you can turn your back. Or you can do what Beth would want, and that is for you to smile, for you to love, and for you to remember. And I think that epitomizes Beth and everything that she would have wanted from us. Now, I know that some of you probably have some very personal or fond memories of Beth. I'm going to share two that, I have too many. They're just way, 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 way too many. But I have two that represent her kindness and her love. And then after I finish, I'd like to give you an opportunity if anyone would like to say anything. And then when you all finish, then I have a benediction for us. And then that will be the end of our thanking and remembering Beth. My daughter Megan, at the age of 16, had a cerebral aneurysm. And she ended up at Duke. And every single day, my brother would leave work and he would drive from Raleigh to Duke to check on Megan. Now, Beth would do my laundry because I was staying in a motel over there and for a very long time. And it was always just the kindness and the thoughtfulness, the checking in and everything like that. Well, one thing is that Beth, as you all know, loved to make desserts. And she could really make some slam banglings, let me tell you. And those of us, especially in her family, we got to enjoy a lot more than some of you. I know. But one of the favorite things that Megan loved to eat was Beth's cheesecake. Now, when Megan was at Wake Med in the hospital, and the doctors were just starting to allow her because she'd had the aneurysm, she couldn't swallow, she had all of this stuff, then they started saying, you can start swallowing, you can start eating food again. Well, she'd been eating like pudding because it was really soft and easy to go down, but it wasn't sugar-free. So she was starting to put weight back on. So I kept saying, Beth, she's gaining weight. What do we do? What do we do? So Beth made her a no-cal, low-cal cheesecake and brought it to the hospital. And Megan ate all of it, to say the least. Now, there was another time, I get a phone call one afternoon from Beth. Beth's at work. I get a phone call, and I'm going, well, this is really highly unusual for Beth to be calling me. What is going on? She is in a frantic panic like you would not believe. I've been trying to call Arthur. I can't get a hold of him. I don't know what is going on. Something is on. I said, Beth, calm down. What's wrong? I've told him to be very careful every time. He's too old to get up on the roof and clean the gutters. And I'm going, I said, okay, so what do you think? I don't know. He's not answering the phone. I think he's fallen off the roof. So she asked me, she said, can you try and call him? At least one time, if you can't get him, can you please go over to the house? Well, fortunately for us, we're only about 3 or 4 minutes away from each other. And so I picked up the phone, I'm calming down. I'm going, oh my gosh, what am I going to do if my brother's on the ground, when I go over there? So I picked up the phone. He answers. Well, he'd been blowing, the leaves and everything. He had his phone, but he couldn't hear the phone and everything. So he was going, gosh, my gosh, So I am assuming that he called his wife and explained, I'm okay, But she worried. She would worry, but it was always a comical situation. I don't care how serious something was. We always ended up where it was comical. It was quite funny. And I'll keep on going because I got a couple things. I'll just say, at Thanksgiving, Arthur and Beth and Ian would come over to Megan's and my house, and we would have we used to have traditional, the turkey or the goose. I got pretty good at doing that, and duck. And then it was the Thanksgiving pre-COVID. I made, for the very first time, a rib roast. I mean, it was it was prime rib, to perfection. I need a job at the club. Anyway, it was absolutely, I was so surprised. Well, we had invited a neighbor across the street, and her sister had been in town and came. I have a friend who dog sits and watches our house if Megan and I go out of town, and so we invited her. Megan had one of her best friends come over, and it was all of us with Beth and everything, and we all ate, and it was great. And as we're getting ready to get dessert, if Beth Flowers gave you a comment that was a super compliment about your cooking, then you rate it up there. You really rate it up there. And so we were getting ready to eat dessert and everything, and he goes back into the kitchen, and his dessert was another piece of prime rib, which made me feel extra good. But what she did, she was talking to my friend, the dog sitter, Kathy, and this was Beth, just her sweet, kind heart. And Beth was talking to Kathy because she had heard us talking about family and everything, and Kathy wasn't going home for Christmas. So here's Beth. If you're not going home for Christmas, you come over. You come over. So Kathy came to our house, and we drove over to Arthur, Beth, and Ian's, and it was just like, you're welcome, you're family. So she was always doing that, always doing that. And what was it you told me to say if I didn't say egg rolls? Lumpia. Okay. All right. Who's got the recipe, Alicia? The way she perfected it. So we're counting on you for Christmas this year, to keep Beth's recipes and stuff going like that. But we used to laugh a little bit because we tried to have traditional Thanksgiving and everything. But you go to their house, and here's Beth, every kind of noodle, every Philippine dish you can imagine. Man, nobody complained. Nobody complained at all, and it was a good time. All of the women. And we have the neighbor here, Beth, from across the street and everything, but all of the women would be sitting in the kitchen. Ladies, how that is. The men are somewhere else. So we would all be sitting in the kitchen and eating and talking and sharing stories and, trying to solve the problems of the world. Whereas all of the men would be in the other room with the TV trays, watching a ball game or a movie or something like that. But that was just the way things were, and that was a natural progression of how we all would celebrate the holidays and the families and everything. So Beth made it special for all of us, as a family, and I'm just hoping that you have fond memories like we do about our Beth, because she was undoubtedly a super, super special woman. And we're thankful and need to be thankful that God gave us the opportunity to have her with us for as long as we've had her, and to be able to know her, and hopefully that we can take with us a part of her so that we are all better people. Now I'm opening up the floor. Anyone has anything at all that they might like to say, a fond memory, please come forward, or you can stand where you are, but we'd like to hear what you have to say about Beth.
Oh, no.
Good morning. My name is Tom Noyes. Many of you know me. Many of you have worked with me. I was one of the general managers, one of the many general managers at Northridge Country Club over the years that Beth was there. And I was talking to Art the other day, and he said, we were talking about the years, and he said, I lost Beth to the club in 1983. So on behalf of the tens of thousands of people who came through the club, on behalf of legions of club managers, assistant managers, hospitality professionals, on behalf of everybody, I just want to thank you for that gift. That was Beth. She spoke highly of so many people in this room, and I just want to say that we all do the same thing, and I've become sort of famous for having little sayings. My first ever mic drop. There's a lot of sayings that I have and that I've come to know, and a lot of them relate to Beth. A lot of them were about Beth, and I was just talking to my 17-year-old daughter the other day who was going for her first job interview, and I said, listen, it's your first job interview. You're not supposed to have the skills. You have the attitude. And one of the things that I always used to preach at Northridge Country Club, and Beth and Alicia were the embodiment of this, is that I always believed in hiring attitude and teaching skills. And Beth showed us every single day, that there's, in my opinion, there's no real higher calling than to be of service to our fellow people. And she did that with such beauty and grace, she set the standard so high, for those to come. And Northridge has gone through a lot of changes since it was built in 1967. I was participated in one of the first major renovations in the early 90s. But the real change, the real rock of that club is still the people, and that's the same with every club. I mean, the people who come through there. Chef Turner's here, and Jimmy, and Lee's in the back. Millie and Jeff. I can't say enough about the club, and I know a lot of the family has probably heard plenty about it, over the years. But I'm sure I'll forget some of the words that I intended to say, but just thank you, Ian and Arthur, Art, and I do remember Beth a couple of times clenching her fists in her jaw and saying Art. So Arthur, but she was crazy about you too, and doting mother. I don't know if that's, I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but we used to tease because she ironed y'all's underwear. Maybe that's the thing, I don't know. Am I right? So again, thank you, and thank you on behalf of everyone, and Northridge Country Club is all the better for Beth having been there all these many years, and so are all of us. So, yes.
Nice job, Tom. Everybody I know, and I would defy anybody that knew Beth, and she knew, as Tom said, tens of thousands of people. I don't know one person that did not love her. She was just it was a privilege to be around her. I was lucky enough to work with her for 20 years, almost 2 decades, and I watched Ian grow up, and what a fine, she was so proud of her son, and she was so proud of her husband, and she was so proud of her sister, Alicia, and those two were like thick as thieves. I get it, but I'll go into the weight station, and there's Beth and Alicia, if they're both working on the one side, and they're talking in a foreign tongue. I say, hey, That's not nice. Oh, we're just talking sister to sister. Yeah, as long as you're not talking about me. So, but it was a privilege to be a part of her life. And she was, not only was she a great wife and mother, she was a superior professional at her job. If there's a jam, or there's, we're, as we say in industry, in the weeds, there is nobody you want on your side than Beth. I lost a little piece of my heart the other day when I found out the news, and that's because that piece was put in there by Beth. And I have the same feelings for the whole family. And I've had the same feelings for Alicia. We've been through all kinds of wars together, and I'm one of the millions of people that loved her, tens of thousands of people that loved her, and she will be sorely missed in my heart. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, if you will bow your heads, please. Beth, may you rest in the arms of the Lord who formed you from the dust of the earth. May angels and all the saints welcome you now that you have gone forth from this life. May Christ bring your peace and admit you into his garden of paradise, where we will all meet again. May the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. Amen. Amen. Thank you all for coming.